Okay, so now we've gotten to the marriage with Isaac and Rebekah. We kind of put a little commentary on there. Now, let's go to their sons, Jacob and Esau. Now, at the beginning, and time, when Isaac and Jacob were born, of course, Jacob was like grabbing on, wanting some stuff, wanting to be first, wanting to make it, and he's grabbing on to the blessings. I mean, whatever blessing he can get his hands on, whatever opportunity, he will grab hold. Now, Esau, Esau was Isaac's favorite because Isaac loved how he can go out and hunt for game and just bring in some of the food. Isaac loved that. He really loved that. Rebecca loved Jacob. That was her favorite because he was always staying home with her. He was helping her around the tent and everything. And just like usually the oldest son is like their father's boy and stuff like that. And then usually the youngest son is like their mother's kid. You know, I mean, you think about that. So it's like, wow. And I can't really say much about sisters or stuff like that, except for, well, we'll get to the sisters late, not tonight, but later on, tomorrow or something. But anyway, let me show you. Here's Esau. And Isaac loved Esau more, and here's Jacob. Rebecca loved Jacob more, and the two boys had these two boys. Were getting into some of the we're just getting in on it. And what happened was is that what what Jacob did what Jacob did was he found an opportunity. He took an opportunity on his brother Esau. He wanted to be the firstborn. He wanted to get everything. See, Esau went and was going out to hunt, but then he felt famine. But anyway, Esau was so hungry, and he saw some of the red stew that his brother was cooking, and he says, "Give me some of that red stew." And Isaac and Jacob said, so Esau said, "Jacob, can I have some of that red stew?" And Jacob says, "Yes, but first give me your birthright." So Esau gave him his birthright and swore firstborn rights to his brother Jacob. And so Jacob went ahead and gave him the stew and the bread. He ate and then he left, despising his birthright. So didn't give his birthright another thought. Stew, stew is good. Oh, I love some stew and bread. Mm-mm. Canned stew or some. I like canned stew a little bit better. When they. But anyway, to make a long story to make a long story short, like some of us here, we tend to spend our money foolishly on things only last like that only last less than a day, probably even less than 15 minutes. Alrighty. I wanted to get this nice Christmas present. Get something that my mom always wanted, like to help her, to get around. So, the food looks good on the window, and so I'm ordering, like, spending money that I could be using on buying my mom a special gift over on spending the money that I could have spent on something for my mom on junk food, pretty much, or just food, any food that I don't really need to eat. And I'm not blaming it on my medication, or I'm not blaming it on, oh, they shouldn't have done that. But what I'm saying is this: is that we can things that we can't wait for. See, we need to ask God for things instead of going around and just saying, "God, can you bless me with the lady?" God's like, "No, no, you don't. You don't go in that. Do not go in that burger joint. No, if you want something, you're gonna have to wait for it and save your money for it and use an opportunity and and consider that fast food an opportunity cost because the food smells great. I gotta have it. You have it and it was good. It tastes great, but guess what? Money's gone. So is the food. You ate the food. It tastes good, and then you're done. So now, what are we gonna do with the money? Now, what am I gonna do about this and that? That's what Esau did not stop to think about. He didn't. He only saw the here and now, and that's our flesh, the here and now. That's why that's what kind of scared my soul a little bit because, like the flesh would say, "Don't do this again." But sometimes we have to learn to really trust and obey the Lord. Okay, so as a result, let me look. Let me show you. Now here's Isaac. This is Isaac blessing Jacob after eating the food. Here's Rebecca, the mother, the wife of Isaac, the mother of Jacob and Esau. And here is behind these palm trees. There's like here's Esau with coming back with the animal that he hunted, the game that he hunted. He's going to take it and cook it for his father, little knowing and not knowing until he actually brought the food that it was that the blessing was already taken and gone. And so now Jacob now Jacob has stolen Esau's blessing. And now we have to understand too this that Esau spent his whole life savings on a meal. Jacob was this marketing opportunist. Esau spent his birthright foolishly. After Jacob, after Jacob charged him his birthright and gave him the food, everything pretty much belonged to Jacob. Everything pretty much belonged to Jacob. See, now of course, Isaac was Isaac was moving from town to town where he built wells, and of course, Abimelech, I think he was. He's like, you know what? And then the people's like, you know what? You need to leave. You need to leave this land, go nothing. So Isaac just kept on building wells everywhere he went, and then the people just was taking his well, claiming it because that's where Isaac got his prosperity. We're gonna go ahead and cut here, and then we're gonna finish this off on the next video.